Hey guys, okay, so today's video is a little different from what I'm normally doing, and I today am going to take the time to tell you about my YouTube journey and how I got to where I am today and what my focus and dreams and passions are for the future and what I'm working on, because I'm just really excited about it, to be honest. That's why. This is a lengthy video, but I hope that you watch it all and take the time to watch it all. And the people that are subscribed to my channel, thank you for riding with me, and I hope this helps you understand my journey. And the people who are brand new, I hope you join this journey with me, because I think I'm just getting started into the most exciting part of my YouTube journey today. So let me take you back to Little Deeps in Sugar Land to get started. Growing up in Sugar Land, Texas, I basically was an Indian chick who dreamt of living in New York City and the Big Apple and living this like glamorous life. I didn't think it was possible for a few reasons. Came from a family of doctors and medical professionals, and I'm Indian. What I saw in the media and on TV were a lot of white chicks, and really tiny ones at that, and there was nobody on TV to make me feel like I could do that too. I just was always within my group of friends like the girl who just like knew what makeup was supposed to be worn. So Deep enters high school and she's like, I really want to be a makeup artist. I want to go work at a mat counter. Papa Pundu steps in. He's like, no, you're studying for the SATs. You are not going to do any job. I was also always very much a business person. It was like my dad had the work ethic, my mom had the business savviness. I'm a combination of both of them, and that's who I became. So then I was like, I'm gonna go to the corporate side of beauty. Went to college, Macomb School of Business, University of Texas, hook 'em horns. I was determined to get an internship at L'Oreal, like 100%, no question about it. I was going to work at the best beauty brand if I was going to work at any beauty brand. I do this case competition at my business school, which basically allows you to play the role of a brand manager for L'Oreal, and you get like an actual brand manager from the company to be your mentor. You get to work with an actual ad agency to put together an actual ad campaign. It was like RGA, it was really cool. And our case study was to do it for the brand Diesel. And I won for UT. It was me and my two teammates who are now some of my very, very dearest and closest friends. By winning for your school, you basically got a internship for L'Oreal. So now here I am, I'm in my junior year of college, and it is the summertime, and I'm living in New York City, the dream of dreams, living in an NYU dorm, getting paid to work for my dream company. Like, I worked my butt off, I networked my butt off, and then the end of the internship comes and I don't get the full-time job. So here's Little Deeps with her perfect little dream of like, work for L'Oreal, brand manager at L'Oreal, business school, beauty brand. So I thought I was gonna get the offer and I could just chill my whole senior year and like know what I was gonna do after college. It's not the case. Long story short, I get an offer from Limited Brands in Columbus, Ohio, working for Victoria's Secret Pink. Like, when I first even got that job interview, I was like, I'm not moving to Columbus, Ohio. No offense to anyone in Columbus, Ohio, but for a girl that's from Texas that was dreaming of moving to New York City, kind of felt like a standstill moment for me. I basically went to the interview with the thought process of this is gonna be a practice interview. They sold me with the glam, you guys. Like, you walk into their offices, the show is playing on the big screens on the side, $1 million bras like in a big box, and you're like, oh my God, this is so glamorous. I moved my Texas butt to Columbus, Ohio, and worked for this incredible company. I was getting paid really well for right out of college, working in the fashion industry. Like, that's just not a thing that happens, but I was super bored. I was fully a 9-to-5. Like, it was like the thing that like they really valued work-life balance, and like to me, like I don't even know what that means. That was when enter Deep's passion project, which was my first blog, skindeepblog.tumblr.com. I think it still exists. I felt like I was a beauty authority with my friends. They would ask me all these questions, and I saw this blogging world start to come up. I was always one of those people who was like, why do I have to be a certain age to start my own beauty brand? Like, I was always an entrepreneur at heart and always doing things to like fuel this entrepreneurship in myself, and the blog felt like step one in doing that. Like, I remember I was like a Clinique brand ambassador, and I was like so excited. I like submitted a video and they were like, you're amazing, and I got free products sent from them. There's this company called Shoe Dazzle. I noticed it because of Kim Kardashian, can't lie. I was like, oh my God, this business model is so innovative. It was like getting shoes sent to you every single month that were picked out by a stylist for like a really cheap price. And I was like, wait a second, this is a really cool business model. Why doesn't the same thing exist for the beauty industry, where there was somebody sending you products to your house and it was picked out by an expert in the space? So I immediately bought a URL called makeuptrunk.com and called my cousin Nilesh, and he's like a dude at this time who's in San Francisco working in like a battery company. But he's also the only other cousin of mine that's not a doctor. Granted, he went to Harvard, so he gets like the get out of jail free card Indian parents, you feel me? And he was always the one while we were growing up that was like with me thinking about like business ideas together. We were the only ones who got each other with that. So I call him and he's like, that's a great idea. And I'm like, we should do it. I was like, I know the beauty side of things. You know the business side of things. You know how to get investors. I'm 22 years old at this point, and I'm like, let's just do it. He calls me basically like a week later and he's like, by the way, it does exist. It's called Birchbox and they are crushing the game. So I look it up and I'm like looking at this website and I'm like, okay, the two founders went to Harvard Business School, 2 women, New York City, beauty industry, entrepreneurship, check, 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 check. I apply for a job the next day and I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them. I get the job. Totally took a pay cut. So that was really scary. But my cousin, Nilesh, again, like he was the one that was like, look, this is an incredible opportunity. You are meant to do something like in this space. If you need some extra cash when you go there, like I can totally help you out, but you've got to make this leap. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. My parents, mind you, again, I always went to him before I went to my parents about like things like this, just because it's nice to have the support of your cousin that went to Harvard to vouch for you. They basically were like, what? Like they were so confused by the whole thing. I was only working at Limited Brands for like 9 months at this point. The thing that sold them, founders went to Harvard Business School. My daughter will go to Harvard Business School. That was like, that's all that registered in their mind. So got the parent approval, quit my job, went and worked at Birchbox. I was like a marketing assistant. While I was there, one of the beauty editors found my blog, skindeeblog.tumblr.com, came through. So I started to do content for Birchbox. I'm like the token brown girl. I'm like all about it. Birchbox opens up a retail store. There's like a massive billboard of me. And I start to grow like a small social following. And that was like sign number 1 that like, whoa, there are brown chicks out there that need a beauty authority speaking to them. Sign number 1. Sign number 2 was when we started to work with influencers at Birchbox, and I was like searching for like, oh, well, like let me find a brown YouTuber for us to work with. Couldn't think of one person. And it was just so psycho to me. It was like, oh, there's this like small thing called YouTube that's popping off. There's this small country / exact opposite of small called India. And there's this tiny thing called the beauty industry. And there was no cross section between all 3 of those to have representation. I will say when I was interning at L'Oreal, Michelle Phan had just happened. She had just signed like a crazy, I think it was like $1 million deal with Lancome, and I was like, oh my God, I could totally be the Indian Michelle Phan. But to be totally honest, I had this like mindset of like, how could I be a YouTuber? I'm Indian. We're supposed to like get educated more and then more and then more. Woke up January of 2015 and I was like, you know what, Deepica, if nobody else sees this, at least your friends and family will stop texting you and you can just show them your YouTube channel and just do it as like a fun hobby. That was my New Year's resolution. I picked up my iPhone, I held it vertically instead of horizontally, entered the video where I used red lipstick under my eyes to hide dark circles. I just remember being at my desk at work and somebody G-chatting me saying, holy shit, you're on BuzzFeed, you're about to go viral. I had no idea what BuzzFeed could do to your life. Like, it was insane. I had like 500 subscribers, which was like my friends and family, and me like blasting on Facebook, like threatening their lives if they didn't subscribe. Before I knew it, that video went from 10,000 views, which by the way was so exciting. And then when it hit 100,000 views, I just had this moment of like, oh my God, it's gonna hit 1 million. I set up a Google alert and it was like Vogue India, Cosmo UK, Daily Mail, Refinery 29, like boom, 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 boom. I would wake up and it was just like boom, 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 and the views were going boom, 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 boom. Then my subscribers started to go boom, 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 boom. Lots of boom, 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 booms. I got an email from the Today Show, and it was when my video was at 4 million views at this point. The email said they'd love to have me on to do the segment on air. And I had this moment of like, oh my God, I'm gonna be the brown Hoda. I had this opportunity. It was like a 15 minutes of fame situation, and I could have either had it be a really cool moment in my life, or I could take it and turn it into my dream career. At this point, I was at Birchbox for 3 years. I loved working at a startup, and I encourage everyone to do so at some point. I feel like it was really cool because you got to put your hands in any part of the business that you were excited to be a part of. It was almost like an everything happens for a reason thing, because when I was working at L'Oreal, I was devastated that I didn't get that full-time job. Like, I was like, that's the plan. Like, why isn't the plan working out? And now I get it more than ever. Like, I was meant to work at Birchbox and learn the beauty industry through that lens and not the traditional route of like a larger house. And then when this happened, it was like a sign, it was like a moment that was like, okay, Deepica, if you one day want to do this beauty brand, why not take this opportunity to sort of create a platform and voice for South Asian people on YouTube and build a brand around yourself, because you'll, A, that opportunity doesn't come often, B, it needs to freaking exist, and C, it'll only help you if you ever wanted to create that line. The day I got that email from the Today Show, I went to my CEO and I put in my 2 weeks notice. Everyone told me that when you go on the Today Show, it's just like a once in a lifetime thing. It doesn't turn into like a regular spot. How are you gonna make money, Deepica? Like, they told me I wasn't big enough to do this on my own. I just went with my gut and what I felt was right, and I went for it. And I asked myself the same question that I asked myself when I left Limited Brands, and it was, what's the worst case scenario? And the worst case scenario felt like not trying. And I never wanted to look back and wonder what if. So when I quit my job, I basically didn't tell my parents. I told my cousin Nilesh, and he also said to me, you've got to go for this. So I go home for a weekend because I'm like, I don't know what life is about to be like. I go home, I'm sitting on the couch, and my dad goes, come into the study. I knew he knew. My cousin told his dad, who told my dad, the Indian grapevine is a strong thing. So I go into the study room and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to have an arranged marriage set up. She's getting shipped off to India. My life is done. Thank you, cousin Nilesh. And then he hands me a check and I'm looking at him like, what is happening? And he's like, don't think of this as me giving my daughter money. Think of this as me making an investment in somebody I believe in. I lose it. Like, I literally lose it. I'm like hysterically crying and I like tear it and I'm like, I don't need your money. I just needed to know that you support me. And like, I felt like I was disappointing the man who basically gave up everything in his life to provide a life for his kids. So to hear him say he supported me was everything. And then now taking it back to this moment on the Today Show, it was just such a rush. But what I do remember feeling was that I wasn't nervous. Even the slightest bit. It just felt like my like destiny, what I was meant to do. My dad was backstage with me, sitting next to Kid Rock, LOL. That was like the funniest thing ever. He came up to me afterwards and he was like, I'm proud of you. And like, there's something about hearing your dad say that he's proud of you that just makes you lose it. And it's a moment you never forget. After we did the segment, I remember being like, oh my God, that was so fun, let's do it again. Thinking like everyone would be like, okay, lady, on to the next segment, goodbye. But this producer goes, you should do it again. And I was like, what? And she was like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm a senior producer here at the Today Show. You're a natural. We'd love to have you back. Everyone told me that that doesn't happen, and then it did. And that was just like sign number one that like anytime you've gone with your gut feeling, it's worked out for you. So keep trusting that gut feeling. We're now like in March of 2015. I'm now living in the West Village. Still don't know how I'm paying my bills. I, all of a sudden, am being a beauty influencer, my own manager, my own agent, my own lawyer, my own assistant, my own publicist, my own staff of like everyone. But that made me not pump out videos as often as I should be. My video's now at 10 million views, but I didn't have all these other videos to like have those views trickle down into except for like 2 or 3. And it was just like a lot happening at that time. And you know, in hindsight, you think back and it's like, Deepica, you should have just focused on the content. The first deal I got, it was a major beauty brand and a major media outlet. And they're like, okay, so yeah, what's your day rate? I had no idea what my day rate was. Like literally no benchmark, no anything. Like I knew that there was influencers we paid at Birchbox certain rates, but they were so much bigger than me. I was like, I don't know what to say. I literally threw out a number and they were like, okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, so now I know that the amount that I charged was too little. Take it up a little more next time. See how far you can push it. That shoot was also really interesting because they were like just snapping photos and I was like this. I could just see that they were like waiting for me to turn and slay and just like do all these things. All I had ever done at Birchbox for their videos was post for selfies. My story in my career is the definition of fake it till you make it. I went on set and I was always kind and I was always nice and I made an effort with each person. I was always humble and I still have that same mentality to today. I think just being kind gets you really far in life. I was never afraid to cold email somebody, ask a family friend for a contact. The worst they can say is not respond or say no, but at least one of them might, and you never know what that one move could do for you. You know, the advice I always give is just to be fearless in that situation and go for it because that's helped me a lot. So now we're at like mid 2015. I'm now officially a beauty influencer. Then the Today Show asked me to be one of their style tastemakers, which essentially meant like a group of digital experts that would come on regularly on the show. Dream freaking come true. I go on Dr. Oz, I'm doing all these other beauty segments. There's just like all these dream things happening for me. And then at the end of that year, I remember at the end of 2015, people were like, oh my God, you've had an incredible year. What's your goal for next year? And I was like, I want to be an E-News correspondent. And everyone was like, ha ha ha, really funny. And I look at them and I could just tell in their face, they also were thinking, well, damn, maybe she could be because nobody thought this could happen. That year I was on E-News, I did Miami Swim Week and it was a really cool moment and I got to experience what I always thought I wanted. So now it is 2016, you know, so many dream campaigns. I could have never imagined L'Oreal, Orbe, Maybelline, Laura Mercier. You know, this whole time that I was doing this like entrepreneurial influencer thing, it was like the highest highs and lowest lows. I always had this like folder in my inbox of emails I got from people that were basically like girls telling me I've given them confidence to go and like for their dream career. They don't feel like they have to go be a doctor just because their parents told them that, and I gave them that confidence. And I was like, well, your parents must hate me, but I do not care, because that is something I wish I had as a kid. And so to hear that I've been able to serve like that for people meant a lot. I will be totally honest and say that there was a point where I started to do videos that I wasn't excited about, and I think you could tell in my video content. I've been called out for it before, and it really hurt me because it was true. Like, it kind of like wore me out, and I started to get drained, and I was sick of doing videos that were tutorials without a message behind it. That's when I created a video called Be Your Own Princess. It was me turning into all these Disney princesses and kind of showcasing to the world that like, just because I'm Indian, I don't have to be Jasmine. I can be anyone I want to be. Cinderella, Ariel, anyone in the world, even a prince if I wanted to be. And that video meant the world to me. And since then, I've made it a point to create at least like annually one video that was more about a message than anything else. And I've done, you know, this Beauty Is video, most recently a Wonder Woman thing where I turned into a South Asian Wonder Woman, and it's fulfilled me more than anything else has. Now we're entering into the end of 2017. I found myself consistently like giving people advice in the DM that were like girls that were up and coming beauty influencers, or like just consulting for brands on the brand side and how they should work with influencers. The reality is that brands hire me because they don't know any other option that's Indian, and sometimes they're just trying to check their token ethnic box, which, by the way, I know it sounds really obnoxious, but I feel grateful that that's even a thing, because even if it is for that reason in their mindset, people are watching this and feeling represented. So it's about freaking time, because growing up, being a token anything wasn't even a thing because nobody cared for the token of an Indian girl. So I feel like we're making progress by the fact that I'm even in these campaigns. And I kind of just had this moment where I was like, what is it that's gonna make me happy? At this point, I feel like I've done every dreams beauty brand situation that I could have ever imagined. A L'Oreal commercial, a MAC global campaign, being on buses for MAC in like a foreign country, that to me is just like mind-blowing. I just almost feel like it's time for somebody else to have a chance. That brings me to where I am today and the launch of Tinted, which to me is my new purpose. And I have a lot of exciting video content coming up to tell you and show you the whole journey of how I'm building Tinted. And you will see a shift in my YouTube channel of me showing more vlog content, building this beauty brand in my garage, which is where I am right now, and showing you and taking you guys on that journey. Now that there's so many other beauty gurus out there, I feel like I want to create a platform to give all of them a voice, to unite these women who I don't think have a home for themselves, to feel like they are represented. And I'm so excited to see what Tinted evolves into. We have so many exciting things happening, and I'm so excited to take all of you on this journey with me. Don't worry, that does not mean I'm not doing beauty videos. That is very false. I don't want you to feel that way. I just think that you'll notice that I'm now gonna do videos in the way that I 100% authentically feel is me and not what it is YouTube. And I remember growing up, dyeing my hair blonde, getting blue contacts, trying to fit in with every blonde girl around me, and the hope and goal for Tinted is that women see and know that it is incredible to be brown and or whatever color you are, and you feel like you're being represented. You can just authentically, truly be yourself in your skin and feel excited and good about it and proud about it, because when I grew up, I wanted to hide that about myself, and I now more than ever am like, love the fact that I'm Indian. I love my black hair, I love my big eyes, I love my big hairy brows, and I love my culture, and I used to be so embarrassed of it all. And so I hope that my new videos that you see coming from this point onward showcase that I'm proud of who I am, my culture, and comfortable in my skin, and hope that that kind of helps other girls when they are going down the path of whatever it is. Maybe it's not a beauty influencer and just whatever creative field you want to be a part of, or maybe it is a traditional path, but you do it because you want to do it and not because of any other reason, and not feeling like you couldn't because of who you grew up being. If you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't know where to begin, I don't know where to start, I have these dreams and I don't know what to do, my biggest piece of advice is just to start. Stop worrying about perfection and just begin. You will never get to perfection, which by the way is overrated anyways, unless you just start. Fake it till you make it. Perception's reality. Be bold. These are all my life living moment quotes. That's my YouTube journey and how I got to where I am today. And I'm excited and so grateful for every single one of you watching. Thank you so much. Keep the conversation going. I will for sure make a massive effort to respond specifically for this video, because it means way too much to me to not. And I guess I'll sign off with how I always sign off and say thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. #LiveTinted.